Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 474 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Let's go into a few quick DC film updates. The first one is, of course, Birds of Prey opening up early next month. And according to Deadline, which is, reported by Discussing Film here, it's Birds of Prey is currently tracking for $45 to $55 million in its opening box office weekend domestically. Now, now that seems for me at first I was like, wow, that is a lot. But in terms of a smaller, low budget, a spin-off type movie, that is quite a bit. For DC Films, however, the last movie that performed around that much for domestic box office opening weekend was Shazam. And, it didn't make too much money after. It was very profitable, though. And so this may be, right now, this regime, Walter Hamada's role is to make lower budget films that have higher gross profits. So in that case, and this may be. Now, it could skyrocket. We've seen stuff like that happen before, especially like Aquaman, skyrocket to $1 billion. It's very possible. Harley Quinn is pretty popular. I'm thinking people are pretty happy with the Harley Quinn animated series right now. I am pretty happy with the Harley Quinn animated series right now. And so her popularity is right there, up right there with it. So we'll see how this performs. It's interesting, the marketing for this. We're seeing a lot of TV spots now. We're seeing a lot of social media posts about it, and even a soundtrack trailer for this movie. I don't remember the last time I've seen a soundtrack trailer, meaning they show the artists and the songs that are going to be in the album in a little trailer from Warner Brothers. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it is interesting, and seeing that they're really pushing for it. Hoping for the best for Birds of Prey for box office opening and on the box office in general. So hopefully that does well, and we'll see more from DC Films as well to see how it plays out in the larger field and larger audience, and so on and so forth. So Birds of Prey coming out next month already. That's really quick. It's right around the corner. So let's see what happens with that. Next up, this is interesting. Now, this is from Brazil. Omelette is one of those people, one of those groups that cover DC films, DC things. They had this little video, so check this out real quick.
Pop culture character that you like to be on screen, or a novel, or from a graphic novel, from a comic book, or from...
Batgirl would be pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, she's a redhead.
And would you like to direct a comic book film?
Batgirl would be cool for that as well.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because my favorite films in that world are Dark. My favorite one is Dark Knight. I just love the way that was directed so much, and so I would love to work in that kind of world as a director. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's see. You guys hear
Yeah.
it? Okay?
Come on,
Batgirl,
DC.
right?
Yeah, please.
Look over this way.
Pop culture character.
So that was Karen Gillian and her interest in Batgirl. Now I know what you're saying. Like, there's so many actors and actresses are interested in roles, and they rarely get picked. Like, usually the person picked comes out of left field. We have no idea. But in terms of Batgirl, I just want to talk a little bit about this. Is Karen Gillian? She is, of course, a redhead, and she was fantastic in Jumanji. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe as Nebula. But the fact that she is redhead, and she says it right there because she's a redhead, right? We rarely see that actually happen too often, right? I mean, you see Barry Allen, he doesn't actually, he's actually blonde, like in the comics, and for the most part, like Mary Jane and other people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where they don't get redheads to play redhead roles, which I find fascinating and find kind of, I don't know. It just seems weird. It seems like you would get a redhead to play a redhead, and for whatever reason, they get somebody else or some other colored-haired person to play a role that a redhead would usually. There are so many selections of actors, and I don't know. Maybe it's not a. I don't know why they do that, but I sure hope Karen Gillian. I mean, I've never thought of her before. I knew she was a redhead. I guess my mind certainly went to Emma Stone, and then at one point they were talking about Kristen Stewart, Batgirl, even though she's not a redhead. So I think that would actually work. Karen Gillian would definitely work as Batgirl for me in any case. And seeing that she's excited for that, she would want to do that. Interesting thing that she brought up about directing it, that's interesting as well. But like I said, this is just wishful thinking, but I'm just putting it out there that there's so many choices in the redhead community that I hope, we'll find those days where they actually choose a redhead to play a redhead and not just change a blonde to play a redhead. Like Kirsten Dunst, she played Mary Jane. Why? She was blonde, and then they switched it later on with, they had a redhead play Gwen. It was weird. It's just weird. It's just one of my things that I'm like kind of shocked and just like, why is that such an issue? But anyway, Karen Gillian wants to be Batgirl. I think that's a pretty good choice there. I like that. Zack Snyder today posted something today, and it's nothing too big of a surprise, but it is a cool shot in any case. It's an early costume test photo on his phone, and that's Richard Cetrone standing in for Batman, while you see Ezra Miller as Flash, and of course you see Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So early photo of it. I do notice it's a little bit, I don't know if it's the same prototype costume. You do notice this is a little bit more golden than what was in the movie, at least in Justice League, where it was mostly green. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But it is a cool shot. It's a great looking shot, right? And it's interesting that he posted this. Clay Enos did something meta. he shared a shot of him taking a photo of Zack taking that photo. And that was pretty clever, and that's pretty cool. And now you're wondering, what is the reason for this one today? And then you look at the comments, and then you can maybe kind of tell possibly what's happening here. Now, I don't know if this was before or after this comment that Nick McKinless had said. Okay, Nick McKinless had posted this on Vero in response to seeing David Thewlis's name on the picture of Darkseid and saying Darkseid's coming after Ares, which is David Thewlis, right? This is probably an update from what I've told you yesterday in regards to this. So I thought I'd update you on this a little bit more and give you my thoughts on what have happened today. So Nick McKinless, he said this, and you're probably reading what I'm talking. I'm still amazed that I'm being ignored by Warner Brothers and now Zack Snyder for my work as the real Ares in Justice League. Hollywood is known for bad behavior, but not crediting me as Ares and giving another actor residual payments when he never appeared on screen is about as bad as it gets. My contract says, Ares, my whole face, body, and action is on screen. You can clearly see this is in the photo below, so why credit a different actor? I was not a body double. I was not a stunt double. It was me on screen and no one else. Had my face been replaced, I would have expected dual credit at the very least. Instead, nothing. I have stayed quiet regarding this, but the latest spout of bullshit saying Thewlis is Ares has really pissed me off. Hashtag the real Ares. Hashtag Injustice League. So, I shared this on Twitter because I thought it was a conversation altogether. Now, I said that Nick was probably supposed to be like a body double, even though Nick McKinless says he was not a body double. But I was referencing maybe it's like Richard Cetrone, right? He's credited as a stunt double or a body double for Ben Affleck's Batman. Or Greg Plitt. He was actually the body of Dr. Manhattan, right? And Billy Crudup, see now I remember the name, was the face, was the head. And so I really hope all of this is cleared up when they release the Snyder Cut. Now, I do not think this is in any way Zack's fault. I think this probably has to do with, I don't know, maybe the, Warner Brothers and whatever was on that contract. Maybe the Guild of America, Guild of Actors Guild or whatever, Screen Actors Guild, I don't know. Those issues. Maybe there was something that was misunderstood, what he was supposed to play. It could even be to the point that he was actually seen in the movie, in Justice League, coming down with his axe. You see his face, but at the end of the battle, and I wish I had pictures here, end of the battle, you do see David Thewlis's face. So maybe by the time I'm talking about this, I will be able to grab those pictures for you. But would be David Thewlis's face at the end of the battle, while during the battle is indeed Nick McKinless's face. So maybe there's some issues with that as well, right? And just like said, I feel like Zack Snyder saw that and said he had to kind of say something here about his movie. And maybe trying to make a point here, saying that right here where he says, my phone, that's Richard standing in for Batman. Richard Cetrone is a stand-in for Ben. For Batman. For Ben, right? So in essence, he to me, he may be implying that Nick McKinless is a stand-in for Thewlis. It shouldn't be that problem. But you know what Nick does say here? He responded to D610U versus says, that's what releases Snyder Cut fandom do now. We know a lot of stunt actors and actresses, including you, feels disappointed. We as a fan also feel betrayed by Warner Bros. Keep fighting, hoping Mr. Snyder wins this endless debate on releases Snyder Cut. Nick McKinless does say, thank you. It's not Zack's fault. I know that. So he after his emotions probably just kind of died down a little bit. He does say here it's not Zack's fault. So please do not attack him for making like he attacks Zack or attacking Zack for not crediting Nick. I think this issue really truly is in Warner Brothers and maybe the Screen Actors Guild or something like that. There's some misunderstanding here. There's something going on, but I really do hope that all this clears up by the time the Snyder Cut gets released. So that's what I have to say about that, and hopefully that will be the end of that until the Snyder Cut does finally come out. So, but just a little update. Sean O'Connell, who's been on Cinema Blend, and I've talked to him. I've had him on this show. We've talked a good deal, quite a good deal of it of stuff. He has tweeted out here he's finally listened to Chris Vinaldo Sevens and Liv Loves Lupe's anniversary podcast, which was released over the November extravaganza of Snyder Cut extravaganza. He sees a storyboard he never seen before, and it triggers a memory. We saw this Justice League sign on the set, on the floor. So yeah, confirm. Zack Snyder shoots everything he draws. Now, I don't know if you remember this. There was that storyboard where you see Darkseid sitting, and then you see the thing blowing up, and you see a part of the Justice League sign in there. That was leaked out. Screen Rant ran an article, confirmed that it was a true storyboard from Zack, but that was like 2 years ago, right? So looks like Sean did see this, and he does mention, which is pretty exciting, that he did see this sign on set. He does see that on set, which confirms that that was indeed shot. There is that scene, full scene that we have yet to see, and we would love to see That would be an incredible scene. So that is part of the nightmare future, in which we'll probably get a lot more of, right? He says we're going to see a lot more nightmare future. Then we're going to see a lot more nightmare future, and that was one of the biggest scenes I loved from Batman v Superman, and I really was dying to see more of after BVS. I was sure we were going to see some of that in Justice League, and that never happened. But now we know that it's in the Snyder Cut. It's in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It was fully shot. We already know it's complete, pretty much. So I'm really ready to see this. But it does confirm for anybody who still thinks that storyboard was not real. It is confirmed. It is a real storyboard and it really does happen in the movie. So just a little bit about that. Now, this is something fun, and I'm going to play a little bit for you. Geraldo Cortez, he's from TPZ. He's sharing this now, and I think I've shared before certain parts of his music. He done themes for Flash. He does themes for Cyborg, and does a lot of different things. He even helped with themes for advertisements in the movement, so it's really cool. So he did this, his Martian Manhunter theme for Zack Snyder for Junkie XL, Harry Lennox for the Martian Manhunter, for the fandom. And of course, special thanks again to his dear brother in arms, Muncie Funky TPZ, for the amazing artwork he has here. I'm going to share you a little snippet. I want you to know what you think about it. Just a little snippet, but if you want to hear the whole thing, and I fully recommend you do, go down to the link in the comments, in the description below, to listen to the full thing on SoundCloud. But here's a little snippet for you. All right. That's a good snippet. I didn't want to ruin the whole thing because it is a wonderful track. Geraldo, this is awesome. So go ahead, check it out in the link below, and download. I don't know if you can download it, I'm not sure, but listen to it in any case. Share it. It's awesome. It's great, and it's a wonderful thing. Even though it's not the official soundtrack, it's just kind of like his homage, or it's just like like he said, it's for the fandom. It's for us to listen to. He was inspired to create this theme, and I think we should all listen to it. But it really sounds really good. Sounds really good, Geraldo, man. Yeah. I hope someone picks you up in Hollywood, and I hope one day maybe you can even make music for Zack Snyder. So awesome stuff. All right, well, this is a short one. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. It is going to be Friday, so I will have another live chat. Well, I don't know if I'll have a live chat. Maybe I might have a live chat this Saturday. I have something at night, but it will probably be later in the night, or maybe later in the morning for some people there in Europe. But I will try to do something on Saturday. So that is it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.